Today, let's talk financial advising, retirement and tax strategy. Where to put your money, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because today will help you build your legacy with the fly on the wall. Fly on the wall. Fly on the wall.
Welcome, everybody. It's another episode of the Fly on the Wall podcast, and we successfully made it back one more time before Christmas. So,
Hey, look at that.
yes. Look at how organized we are.
And after the end of school, just had the big Christmas party. Like, we're getting things done.
Heck yeah, we are. The Christmas party was so much fun.
It
That
really
was our
was.
first client appreciation Christmas party. Emma was in charge, so I'll say nice things about her since she's not here today, but she did an excellent job. What was your favorite part?
I thought the photo booth was really fun.
I was going to say that too.
Were you?
The photo booth was a big hit. We had props and
Yeah, I
signs
love the
and
props and
goofy hats. And I talked to several women who said they even got their husbands to go in. She said, I didn't get to wear any hats, but I got them in the photo booth, which was a win. And I think the kids were having a lot of fun with it. They were going in and coming back out and going back in. So that was my favorite too. It was really fun.
I loved watching the kids doing their gingerbread houses and letters to Santa. I really think the kids had fun, which, usually if the kids are having fun, then the adult, it's just fun to watch kids love Christmas too, right? So it was neat.
When Santa came in, he had just sat down in the chair and this little boy ran arms wide open and just launched himself at Santa. I think you were probably behind the bar serving drinks. It was so adorable because a lot of times kids are scared, they're kind of nervous. And they don't really want to talk. And his eyes lit up and he just launched himself at Santa. And Santa was very, very tall. One kid's dad said, "Oh my gosh, that's a really tall Santa." And when his son went up to sit on his lap, the first thing he said was, "How did you get so big?" So he wanted to know, how did you get so tall? Yeah. But it was a lot of fun. So those of you that were there, thank you so much for joining us. We're already making plans for next year. And those of you that couldn't come, we know it's such a busy time of year, but we missed you and hope you'll be able to come to another event because we'll do more.
And Emma did do a great job. She loves getting to do those things. That's her thing.
And no meltdowns. Like
no.
We had a few snafus. Like Brad makes excellent barbecue, and we had promised everybody Brad's barbecue, and he got sick the week he was supposed to cook. I thought Emma was going to have a heart attack, but we catered it. It was fine. Picked it up. All was well. So it was good. It was a nice kind of wrap up to the end of the year, getting to see everybody, letting them know the new office is open. Our tax firm is going to be down here. So we had several people that were like setting appointments with.
Yeah, getting to introduce them.
Yeah. So that was really fun. I think a lot of folks didn't know that we have a partner on the tax side, and their appointment book filled up quick. They're going to be here a couple days next week, and like their slots were filled immediately. So
nice.
Yeah, it was good. But today we're talking about something that can have kind of an emotional impact, I think, on some people, right? It's if you find yourself changing jobs, whether that's by choice or not, that's a hard one, especially if it's layoffs, this time of year. And I know personally quite a few folks that were impacted by this. So we're going to talk about kind of some things to navigate.
Rona wants to join. She's crying.
Of course she does, as she should. She needs like a little Christmas sweater or something.
She had one on, and then it was so nice today. So
all right.
Sorry to interrupt, but I didn't know if the crying was coming on.
No, I couldn't hear it over the phone ringing in the office in the background. So well, we want to talk through like some pros and cons, right? How you navigate this, how to avoid costly mistakes. And I get asked about this a lot, just with people that happen, especially younger people that might change jobs as they're trying to, figure out their career, and we might not stay at one employer for 40 years like people did before. We change jobs more frequently. So biggest question always is, do I leave my 401k where it is, or do I take it with me? There's actually a third option that a lot of people maybe don't realize, and it's the only time you have this option. If you miss this window, you don't get it back. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
Okay.
401ks.
I'm interested for that. Yeah.
Yeah, 401ks are illiquid, right? If you're not leaving your employer, then you can't just take that money out and invest it where you want or do what you want with it. It's there. If you're employed, it's staying there. If you change jobs, however, that is your one opportunity to move that, roll it over to your own IRA. So no tax consequences. You don't have to. Your only choices are not leave it there or take it with me, which is what most people think of, right? They don't.
Yeah.
I mean, usually the employer just, they're not giving you any advice. You don't really have anybody to talk to about that. So you think, oh, I've got so many other things on my mind and I've got all this paperwork to fill out for my new employer. I'll think about that later. And a lot of people just leave it and they don't think about it again. They're like, I can just stay there. Or, okay, I'll roll it over to the new employer. Could be fine. But here's some advantages if you wanted to roll it to your own IRA. One, and I think this is the biggest one, there's a much broader range of investment options.
Yeah.
I think you've noticed this when we first looked at your plan. It was like, I'll help you with the best I can with, some of your employer plan options, but most employers are fairly limited. We've got target date funds, which is just like a mix of stocks, bonds. And then you've maybe got like some Vanguard accounts or, something that you can choose from, but there isn't anybody that's really actively managing it.
Yeah.
There isn't anybody that's giving you advice or saying, hey, you might want to move out of this thing, or, you're too conservative or you're too aggressive. It's just in it. And unless you feel really confident and comfortable in what you're doing, then you're probably kind of missing out on some opportunities and you're limited to whatever the 401k is going to offer, which usually isn't as well versed as or as diversified as if you had your own IRA. Couple of other things there. If you are 59 and a half, weird, I know, 59 and a half, you can probably do an in-service rollover while you're at the company. So my one caveat to you have this one window, a lot of employers will say, okay, you're reaching retirement. We get you maybe want to start being a little more conservative with your funds, or you may want other options, or you may want to do something different with this in the last few years of retirement. You should ask your employer, do I have an option for an in-service rollover if you're listening to this and you're close to that 59 and a half range? Here's why. Let's say you want to retire 62, even 63, 4 or 5, whatever it's going to be. And you're invested in the 401k. We have limited options, right? So maybe the option is I kind of want to I'm either going to sit it in cash or I'm going to own like a target date fund where I'm going to be overweighted in bonds or still have stocks or what have you. I don't have a lot of options to protect that account and still have good earning potential. So I don't want to be overly aggressive those last few years, but I don't really want to just sit on the sidelines either. So looking at an opportunity for an in-service rollover may allow you some options and you're in that 59 and a half range. So I find out what you've got access to basically there.
I think we didn't. Okay. Now I'm like, oh, that's what happened there. We had a client that I was confused because I thought it was an employer, but it also said rollover IRA already. So maybe they had done that.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So some of the verbiage that's another thing people can get confused on. They don't pay attention to the verbiage. We're going to talk about some costly mistakes that can happen if you don't pay really close attention to the verbiage when you look at leaving an employer, or if you find yourself being forced to change jobs because of layoffs. There's some verbiage that we really want to pay close attention to. But I want to talk about maybe some reasons why to leave it with the employer, because there are some. One, loan access, right? You can take loans against your 401k. This is where, somebody might say, well, should I go take a loan for XYZ? I'm going to go to the bank. Should I pay a 9% interest rate to get this, $25,000 personal loan, or, should I tap into my 401k? Of course, we don't want to use our retirement funds if we don't have to, but you're essentially paying yourself. So if you think you might need loan access, once you roll it to an IRA, you lose loan access. You don't have that opportunity anymore. But as a young person with a 401k, you have up to $50,000 currently that you can take as a loan. So maybe you're thinking about starting up a business, or there's going to be a need where you would have to go potentially take a personal loan from a bank. Interest rates are so high right now. Don't lose 8-9% to a bank. You'll still have to make a payment, but you're making the payment to yourself. So you're essentially paying yourself back. You're the one that's getting that interest, not a bank.
How brilliant are you?
Well, it is my job to know some of these things.
I learned so much since I started working for you, and I love learning. Wow.
You
I'm
do
mind
love
blown.
learning. That's
I didn't know that you could do that though, but public
loan access. So that's something that should be considered. Then I might say, maybe you shouldn't roll it to an IRA. Maybe the benefits of staying and keeping your loan access outweigh the cons of investment choices and no active management and, some of those things. The other thing that I might say, maybe leave it with the employer. If you're 55-ish and you think I might retire early, when I say early, I mean before 59 and a half, because remember, the IRS has a rule that you can't tap into any retirement funds pre 59 and a half without getting a 10% penalty. So if you're like 55 and you're like, I might just tell them to stick it one day and I might be out of here. I'm on my last leg. I'm about to peace out. Then maybe leave it, because if you're 55 and you say, I'm leaving, you can tap into, in most cases, you can tap into your 401k without penalty. Okay. Wow. So I'm 55. I'm headed to work one day and I'm like, nope, can't take it. I'm quitting today. 55. If I had rolled it to an IRA, I still can't access that money. I'm not 59 and a half yet. So the IRS is going to say, sorry, you're too young. We're going to ding you with a penalty. However, if I had it sitting at my 401k, if it was with my employer, I likely could. Wow. So if you think you might tell your job to shove it one day and you're in that 55 range, maybe leave it. A couple of cons to staying with the employer. You can't contribute anymore, right? So don't think I'm going to leave the employer and I'll just let it sit there. You can't really contribute anymore. They also aren't super transparent with fees. I've talked to a lot of people that are like, no, I don't pay any fees on my 401k. You do. They're built into that plan. You just don't see them. And a lot of times, if you're no longer working for that employer, your fees increase. And they're probably not, super communicative to you on everything that you need to know about that plan, because they're not really set up to work with individuals. They're working with your company. The company should be relaying information to you. So just something to be aware of, that you want to make sure they're not eating away at fees that you thought you didn't have any, or you thought you had really low fees. You may not.
Gotcha.
All right, back to your questions on verbiage. You are an attention to detail type person. So somebody with my personality that's like, go, 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 I would probably be like, oh, I totally missed that it said that. You would never miss it. You would be like, slow down. I don't think you read that correctly.
Did you get my text the other day on RMDs?
Yes, that you were laying in bed at night again, worrying that you missed somebody.
It was like 11:43. I'm like, okay, I have 17 minutes just in case. Yeah.
So funny. So yes, don't worry, anybody. Not only do we have reports and alerts and automation, but we have Margot, and Margot is going to make sure something isn't missed. So I have no doubt that you would not mess up this verbiage, but a lot of people are not, one, they're not paying attention. And two, even if you were paying attention, this isn't something that typical consumers would know. It's not like most people know the difference between an indirect rollover, a transfer, a direct rollover. There's all these variations of what sounds like the same thing. And I've helped people with a lot of forms from their employers, and those are confusing, right? It's like, check this box, here's 4 options, and they'll bring them in and they're like, I don't know what to do here.
Yeah.
Okay, mistakes are costly. If you do an indirect transfer, what that means is they're going to send you a check. The company typically withholds 20% then of what your balance is. So when you go to move the money, the only way to avoid taxation on that is you have to come up with that 20% out of pocket. And you don't have it out of your retirement account anymore. Now I've got to figure out how to come up with 20%, put it back in order for that not to be taxable.
Wow.
So we want to avoid that. There is a fix at the end of the year where eventually you get it credited back, but that's a big loss that you don't have access to for that year. Or it's like, if I wanted it, now I got to figure out how to come up with that out of pocket. So that's an indirect transfer. Typically, we always want to do a direct rollover. Okay. Rollover, think you're changing it from, you're rolling it from one type to another. And if it's direct, it's going from the employer directly to the new custodian, whoever that is. Then you don't have to worry about, they're not withholding anything, nothing's reported as taxable. We can see it went directly to the custodian. So a direct transfer is typically what you want to do. And I think most people know this, but obviously if you have it sent to you, that is 100% taxable. So if you accidentally say, yep, send me the lump sum, you don't know any different, you take the check and you're like, oh, I'll deal with that later, I'll figure out what I want to do with it, and you miss your window, then you just cause yourself to have 100% taxable event on your entire 401k balance. So some costly mistakes that we want to avoid if at all possible.
That's why
Rona is
I have you.
mean mugging me right now.
Oh, I don't know. She is a mess with me gone. So the second I get in.
Yeah. She doesn't look like she's still mad at you. She's acknowledging you anyway.
Yes.
So progress. So a couple of things. Moving it to an IRA, benefits would be consolidation. I'm not trying to remember, right, where all my accounts were past. More active management, just more options overall.
And easier on your family too. I mean, when the time comes, it's all here.
Yeah. I mean, think about, God forbid something happens. You don't have your thing, you don't have your things really in order because it's so unexpected. And now they're trying to track down, well, gosh, he worked for this company. I just met with a woman who came in the first time I met with her. She couldn't even get into his laptop. So she didn't know the password. She couldn't even get in. So when we met the first time, she said, I'm feeling really overwhelmed. Like, he's worked for several companies. He worked for one for 20 years, another one for 10 years. Then he just rolled that and split it up to multiple companies. She's like, but I don't have any paperwork. He did everything electronically and I can't get into his computer. When we met the second time, which was about 3 months later, she had gotten into his computer, but she had a notebook where she was handwriting, she was like, I found this spreadsheet that he had and it had account names and numbers. She was starting to try to call them to try to figure out what might he have here. I just think about how hard that is when you're already grieving. It's not, finances aren't something that you've really dealt with. I mean, kids would be the same way. You're trying to mom and dad's stuff, and I don't know where they moved it. I don't know that they ever got it out of this old employer account. So consolidation has a lot of benefits. Using your generational vault has a lot of benefits. Everything is organized.
I was just going to say there.
That. Yeah. I mean, you have your vault set up, don't you?
Yeah. I also just for Christmas bought myself this. It's funny. well, I guess in my morbid world, I thought it was funny and good. It's a book that I found on Amazon that says, "Sorry, I'm dead. It's your problem now." And it's just all this stuff that I'm going to fill out for Haven. So but honestly,
Yeah.
like working for you has made me think about all these different things that I just want it to be easy to go. I mean, he's going to know to talk to you, but it's just like getting all of it in order.
Yeah. Here's
I
where
know
you
it's a
find it.
problem and it's kind of annoying, but it's so important too. And I've
Yep.
watched you save, I don't know how many people, I was just telling somebody, thousands of dollars because they don't see those fees they're paying to other people. And
One
yeah,
of the advisors that I mentor wrote a book that says, "When I die, look here first." But I like the "Sorry, I'm
no,
dead. It's your problem now" a lot better. I
it fit
think,
me.
yeah, I've seen several that's like from the heart journal and,
Yeah.
some that are, but "Sorry, I'm dead. It's your problem now" is exactly you. And I love
Yep.
that.
Yep.
I love it. So
He's
yeah,
gonna,
we lose track of old accounts. There's no one managing it. There's less control. And then on avoiding mistakes, your best bet there, instead of trying to navigate that yourself, if you find yourself in a position where you're like, okay, I need to make a decision here, I've got paperwork, I'm not quite sure that I'm checking the right box, call us. We will be able to tell you, here's the one you want, here's the one you don't want, and here's exactly how this is going to go, so we don't have any ugly surprises with taxes, because
mhm.
that's never fun. We don't want that.
Yeah.
And then finally, I would say don't make a decision in a bubble. And what I mean by that is look at how everything will be impacted. Too often we have, investment advisors that come in and they say, we'll do this, but nobody's looked at it from a tax standpoint, or we haven't looked at it from, what do I ultimately want to have happen? Or what do I want this family picture to look like? So don't make any decisions in a bubble. Make sure you're talking to somebody who's going to look at the holistic picture and how everything will be impacted before you decide, I'm going to leave it, I'm going to take it, I'm going to roll it. Like, it's already an emotional thing to change jobs, to lose your job, to start over. I mean, any instance in which you're changing
Yeah.
employers, whether it was something you wanted or not, it's stressful.
Yeah.
And that's when you're stressed, that's an easy time to say, I'll think about that later and forget it,
Mhm.
or to try to do too many things at once, then you make an error.
Yeah.
So call us. We can help you. We also have that guide, that brochure that's called, I think it's called, I should let you title it so it's something catchy like, "Sorry, I'm dead."
Yeah.
But it's avoiding costly 401k mistakes. So
Yeah.
very creative. That is the name of it. But it's a great outline, gives you like a checklist of things to follow. It just helps you, I feel like, eh, take control over, okay, here's what I'm doing. I feel confident that I haven't left any stone unturned. Here's why I made this decision. And now I can move forward with other things. So if you want that, you can call us. We'll email it to you. If you just want to have a conversation about how something specifically impacts you, we're always happy to do that too. And we have a new office number. We should give the new office number.
Oh, yeah.
Let me look at my phone so I know what it is. Okay, new office number 620-377-6456. So very official. You can now call
Nice.
us. We'll ring, whoever's available, but there'll be multiple of us down here in the office every day. So call us if you need anything. We're here.
You're a big deal. It was so
It's kind of
pretty.
a big deal. People,
I,
what was it, the line? People know about us, know about me. I can't think. Will Ferrell's. Kind of a big
oh,
deal.
people know me.
People know me.
Do you think, okay, here's advice to it's your problem now. Is it too much to ask Haven that I want 3 separate small Viking boats to be built? Because I know I can't like get my body to be burned like a Viking on a boat, but
No, I don't think that's too much at all.
to take my ashes and I want them floated down the Smoky Hill and floated down the Platte by the cabin and then out
I would
the
have them get started on it now so you can
That's what I'm
enjoy what the
saying.
boats look
I
like.
don't think that's asking too much, and
No,
it
I
will
don't either.
be his problem now.
Yeah. I would just have them start working on it so you can see what it is and
I just
get
think
to benefit
a
from that while
great
you're here.
Viking like me should get a proper Viking burial.
I
That's the
agree.
only thing I want.
Okay. Noted. If I'm still here, I'll be there to sail you away down the river.
There you go. There you go.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us for another episode. As always, we hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it helpful. See you next time.
Merry Christmas.
That wraps up another episode of the Fly on the Wall podcast. Join us next time as we continue the conversations and bringing you behind the scenes in the world of finance. And don't forget to stay connected with us on your favorite social media platforms and subscribe wherever you're listening to podcasts so you don't miss an episode. And we will see you next time.
All matters discussed during this show are for informational purposes only. Opinions expressed are solely those of Iron Horse Financial Services and staff. All topics covered are believed to be from reliable sources. However, Iron Horse Financial Services makes no representations as to its accuracy or completeness. This commercial shall in no way be construed as a solicitation to sell securities or advisory services to residents of any other state other than Kansas or otherwise permitted. Topics should be discussed with your financial advisor prior to implementation. Advisory services offered through Iron Horse Financial Services, a registered investment advisor in the state of Kansas. Insurance products and services are offered through Iron Horse Retirement, an affiliated company. Iron Horse Financial Services and Iron Horse Retirement are not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency.